Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem El Shai, Ba'ashem HaRakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and shalom to the whole four elect. It's Payal of the Gym, it's London Camp, it's news and prophecy and news. I got an article here from RT.com. Alright, I mentioned this in the previous video I just done. Alright, that brother put me up on this. So the title reads, British soldiers who refuse CV jab will be educated, quote unquote, educated, all right, and could face disciplinary action. I'm gonna jump straight to the point that I highlighted, and Lord willing to be edifying. So it says, meanwhile, the government and media have ramped up efforts to urge people to get vaccinated over the past several weeks. Outlets have taken aim at vaccine refuseniks, all right, accusing those who decline the jab of endangering plans to lift lockdown measures. And this goes into that clip I put up earlier, all right, a couple weeks ago, dinner with Andre, all right, that basically goes into the new concentration camp, being that the people, the prisoners are the guards and the guards are the prisoners, all right? So this is turning the people on one another because they're looking at it like, look, you're in between us and getting off lockdown. Because a lot of people, like I had a conversation the other day, one girl within the conversation, I was going back and forth with a guy, he said we were talking about the news and everything that's going on right now. And the girl was like, nah, I don't listen to the news. And she fell into that news. I forgot what there's a word, man. I keep forgetting it, man. But it's basically people that don't listen to the news because it's too depressing. All right. It's right on the tip of my tongue, so lucky. But basically, she said she don't listen to it. She can't get her head around it. She's just right for the taking. You know, in that day, if she's out there and she ain't got no form of protection, whatever happens to her is gonna happen to her, kind of thing. And that goes for most people, because men will be in the same type of fall in line with that same mindset. All right. Because a lot of people not built for adversity, and especially the times we're coming into, time like never before, man. And this is it's a beautiful thing, all right, because it's what we labored for and it's what we've been looking for. So it says, but the point being, they're going to turn the people on each other. One unnamed minister cited by the media suggested that the UK could remain locked up because of the actions of a small minority. All right, so that small minority is now having their fingers pointed, and they're gonna be made to be the criminals. All right, warning that such a scenario could create some really nasty sentiment, and that's what is gonna happen. The sentiment is already being established with BAME, all right? A lot of people feeling like, you know, so-called blacks, Asians, and ethnic minorities have got the lurgies, basically. Like they're you know, a lesser people because they're more susceptible, so-called, all right? But then even it's like, if you don't wear a mask, if you don't do this, you don't do that, the same thing. Currently around 37 million people have had their first vaccine dose, while more than 20 million have received 2 doses of the drug. The UK government has insisted that the vaccine hesitancy in the country remains low, but it's unclear if it also holds true for military personnel. All right? So they don't know. All right? So let me quickly go to the point now. All right? So I'm going to read the first few paragraph. Says the British Army will punish military personnel who decline to be vaccinated against the CV19. The Daily Mail has reported, as the media and government pile pressure on Britons to get the jab. Orders reportedly issued to the Royal Artillery and Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers state that the soldiers who refuse to have the CV vaccine will be educated, quote unquote, by their commanders. And then educated is a ambiguous word, all right? If they still refuse, they may be deemed as unfit to soldier and dealt with accordingly, as a CV19 jab may be a requirement to deploy on operations exercises much like yellow fever, right? So that's where it's at. Right, let me read this scripture. So you can see they're forming a divide. So it's the book of Revelations, and although this is dealing with a Maxine, we know all. Hey, what do they say? They're chipping the soldiers, and they said 60% of the soldiers don't want to do it. All right. So this shows you the fallout. All right. Education, you don't know what that means. All right. That could be torture. All right. There's no idea what that means. All right. It could start out as they sit in front of the projector machine, then projecting some videos and explaining why it's good, but then who knows where it could really be, because it's ambiguous in nature, the way they've explained it. Educated with quotes can mean anything. So this is Revelations 13 and 15. All right, we know that we're in a beast system, so let's read. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many should not worship the image of the beast should be killed. All right. So this is even dealing with the image. This all falls into the image of the beast as well, because the image denotes a mindset, a lifestyle. All right. And this is part of the image that you take the Maxine. All right. And really it falls in, it shows obedience, all right? Whatever Esau is saying, you're obedient unto it, all right? And you fall rank and file in line with it. But if you don't, then you can be educated, and if that don't work, you lose your rank. You basically you'll be deemed unfit as a soldier, all right? But ultimately, this is setting, as I read about the sentiment, towards the people, looking at them. They could even, it's like the episode of Black Mirror where they made the soldiers had the mark, and they looked at the people like they were monsters and whatnot, and they were just normal people, but the wiring in the minds of the people made it as to where they were like some, diseased, maimed type of individuals, and that's the way they're building up the sentiment with people that don't have the Maxine. All right. So with that, I pray you edify to the next one. Say shalom, 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 shalom.